Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them bringing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain to fall, something from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden's soft play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's good creation of the new day.
Next, we'll have a responsive reading. Russ will lead us in Earth Teach Me, number 551. The words in italics are the ones on the screen that you'll see.
This reading, this reading is from the Ute Indians of North America. Earth, teach me stillness, as the grasses are stilled with light.
Earth, teach me suffering, as the soul suffers of
Earth, teach me caring, as parents who secure their young.
Earth, teach me courage, as the tree which stands all alone.
Earth, teach me limitation, as the ant which crawls on the ground.
Earth, teach me freedom, as the eagle which soars in the sky.
Earth, teach me resignation, as the leaves which fall, die in the fall.
Earth, teach me regeneration, as the seed rises in the spring.
Earth, teach me to forget myself, as melted snow forgets its life.
Earth, teach me to remember kindness, as dry fields keep the rain.
You can stay right here. I'll just announce you. And now we're going to have sharings of poems and reflections and readings. And Russ is going to begin with a reading by John Muir, A Windstorm in the Forest.
So as you just heard, this is a reading by John Muir. I don't know if you all are familiar with John Muir, but you should be. John Muir is one of our most important conservationists, maybe best known as the founder of the Sierra Club, co-founder of the Sierra Club, and also a pretty good writer. He's written several books. One of the books, a very short book, 40 pages long, called A Windstorm in the Forest. One December day in the Sierra Nevada, a great storm swept the mountains. The wind came in powerful gusts, bending the trees and filling the forest with a deep, rushing sound like the roar of the sea. Snow and clouds raced across the sky, and the whole wilderness seemed alive with motion. Rather than taking shelter, I felt drawn to go out into the storm. I made my way to a grove of tall Douglas spruces that stood along a ridge, their strong trunks rising more than 100 feet into the air. The wind surged through their branches in long, rhythmic waves, and the trees swayed together like living creatures moving in a vast dance. Climbing one of the great spruces, I worked my way upward until I reached the uppermost branches. There I held on as the wind swept over the ridge. The tree bent and swayed beneath me, rising and falling like the deck of a ship in a powerful storm. From that lofty perch, I felt the full force of the storm and the thrilling motion of the forest around me. All the trees were in motion. The tall pines and firs bowed and lifted again and again, their branches streaming with snow. The sound was not merely noise, but a kind of grand music. 1,000 tones blended into one deep forest hymn. It seemed as though the trees themselves were rejoicing in the storm. From my swaying lookout, I could see the waves of wind traveling across the forest. One group of trees would bend first, then another. Then the motion spread over the mountainside like ripples moving over the water. The strongest and tallest trees rode the gale with grace, while weaker trees sometimes snapped and fell, their trunks breaking with sharp reports. Yet even this destruction seemed part of the natural order. The forest was being harmed, but also being renewed. Clinging to the top of the moving spruce, I felt a sense of wild joy. The storm, far from being something to fear, revealed the energy and vitality of the mountain world. The forest was not a silent place, but a living, moving society of trees, each responding to the wind in its own way. When at last the storm began to ease, the trees slowly stilled again. But their memory of the grand wind-driven dance remained, a reminder that wilderness is always alive, and that even the fiercest storm can even be a celebration of life in the forest.
Thank you, Russ. Now Bernie Greenberg will read a poem he wrote for this occasion. I'm not sure what he named it. I call it The Birthday Party Fir Tree. Be safe.
Be smart. This is a long way to go for a short poem. It's the best I can do. This is something that happened to me this week. And it's because we are celebrating our friendship with trees. In fact, it happened the day before St. Patrick's Day, which was Wednesday, I believe. You see, I was invited to a birthday party for a special treat. Only the invite didn't tell me any detail about who was coming, which was the birthday tree, whether a present was expected, and where it would be, or even how pretty I should dress. Thankfully, the next day was St. Pat's Day, with the wearing of the green. As I went for a walk in the forest, surrounded by trees, I turned into the underground tree network where trees talk to each other, using their roots. Well, it worked out. I didn't go out on a limb. I just had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. And next is Terry with a reading and a poem and a reflection.
Dendrochronology is the science of study of rings of trees. And it reveals not only the history of the tree, but also the entire system. By understanding the pattern of rings, we now know that wider rings mean that it's a wetter season, narrow rings mean drought, and of course, it does show burnt scars, which shows that there had been an occurrence of forest fires. They can determine when a tree was felled by comparing its rings to other rings in the forest. It's called cross-dating. So a timeline can be derived from tree rings in living trees compared to older dead trees. By 1929, they were drilling core samples into these huge structures of these ancestral homes, the plebeian ancestral homes, and they found one home that dated back to 919 AD. Dendrochronology was able to determine when the Vikings came to America, and also it was able to authenticate the provenance of Stradivarius violins. In the Southwest, arid climate preserves trees for centuries after they die, which provides a record of nearly 1,300 years in the past. So these samples of endocrinology confirm a record of the climate change that happens when they drill for the cores up in the Arctic, the ice cores, and it also coincides with the weather instruments for the past 150 years. Science is also changing the way the firefighters fight fires. They are having to prescribe fires longer because they realize now that it's very important to have light in the forest. It makes for healthier trees that can withstand higher intensity forest fires. So there's a whole series of benefits of doing forest restoration, and none of this could happen without the science of dendrochronology. I recently came back from a trip from Portugal, and 10% of the island is filled with cork trees, which are fire resistant. Cork oak bark is totally fireproof. Cork trees can live up to 200 years, and actually they can live up to 400 years if they're harvested regularly. And what I mean by that is that a cork tree sheds its mantle every 8 years. The only drawback is that it takes 30 years for on the first planting of a cork tree, before it actually finally sheds its mantle. 30 years. So this tradition of harvesting must be passed down with generations, within generations. So the next time you pop a cork and you have a glass of wine, think of a tree. Thank the tree. Now, I planted a tree in front of my studio garden. I play at all hours of the day and night, and I want to still be able to see out. But I don't want my neighbors to see me necessarily. So I bought a Japanese blueberry evergreen, and the branches touched the ground, and now the branches are going farther and farther out so that the leaves can touch the sun, and now I can walk inside the tree and stand right next to the trunk. And I don't know if it's because of the season, but now it's sprinkled with red leaves, which fall and cover the ground and hide my cardinals that are pecking for seeds. And the leaves of the magnolia tree in my neighbor's yard not only fall on the ground, but they blow down the street. And I can't have that. It bothers me. So I rake. I rake the street, I rake the neighbor's yard, and I rake my red leaves under the tree. I never think about weather until I start raking. And I'm thinking, which direction is the sun coming from? And is there a cloud that can hide the sun at all? You know? And the light breeze is most welcome, even though it might mess up my hair and blow the leaves around. But it cools me off when I am lost in thought of what nature has demanded of me. It reminded me of Dad. In our house in Sanford, we had tons of pine trees. And he was out there constantly raking pine needles. He was working so hard. I always felt sorry for my dad out there working and raking all these pine needles. And then I recently, outside went, but while I was raking my leaves, I got to thinking about that. You know, when Dad raked those pine needles, it wasn't work. I think he loved getting out of the house. I think he enjoyed the solitude, the tranquility, and the peacefulness of being one with nature, just like I've been feeling. I think trees have brought me closer to Dad's feelings and my feelings with Dad. And I wrote a poem called The Way of Trees. Such large trees from acorns grow with leaves so verdant green, watching life unfold for millennium, or so it would rather seem. The green leaves light up yellow, orange, and then red, like a Christmas tree on fire. Colorful fallen leaves carpet the ground, sadly awaiting a funeral pyre. May climate change the drought we feel so heavy in our hearts. Shouldn't we save the beauty of the earth if everyone does their part?
Now Jane Lovejoy will share the poem I Go Among the Trees by Wendell Berry.
As a child, I was very fortunate to grow up in a very small town on a little less than an acre lot, and 2/3 of that lot was filled with trees. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're a little kid, it was great. So whenever I felt troubled, I would go to the woods. We had some magnolia trees in the back, and I would climb them to the top and just enter a whole new world. Wendell Berry is one of my favorite poets, and this is I Go Among the Trees. I go among the trees and sit still. All my stirring becomes quiet around me like circles on water. My tasks lie in their places where I left them, asleep like cattle. Then what is afraid of me comes and lives a while in my sight. What it fears in me leaves me, and this fear of me leaves it. It sings, and I hear its song. Then what I am afraid of comes. I live for a while in its sight. What I fear in it leaves it, and the fear of it leaves me. It sings, and I hear its song. After days of labor, mute in my consternations, I hear my song at last, and I sing it. As we sing, the day turns, the trees move. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Bernie mentioned in his poem, Trees Talking to Each Other. Now we're going to have a short video about how they do that.
Trees may look like solitary individuals, but the ground beneath our feet tells a different story. Trees are secretly talking, trading, and waging war on one another. They do this using a network of fungi that grow around and inside their roots. Fungi provide the trees with nutrients, and in return they receive sugars. Scientists have found this connection runs far deeper than first thought. By plugging into the fungal network, trees can share resources with each other. The system has been nicknamed the World Wide Web. It's thought that older trees, fondly known as mother trees, use this fungal network to supply shaded seedlings with sugars, giving them a better chance of survival. Those trees that are sick or dying may dump their resources into the network, which might then be used by healthy neighbours. Plants also use fungi to send messages to one another. If they're attacked, they can release chemical signals through their roots, which can warn their neighbours to raise their defences. But like our internet, the Wood Wide Web has its dark side too. Some hackers hack the system to steal resources from the trees. Other species, like the black walnut, spread toxic chemicals through the network to sabotage their rivals. Arboreal cybercrime aside, scientists are still debating why plants seem to behave in such an altruistic way. The hidden network creates a thriving community between individuals. When you're next in the wood, you might like to think of trees as part of a big superorganism. Internet and food under your feet.
Chatting and swapping information and food under your feet. And swapping information. I'd like to think of trees as part of a big superorganism. Chatting and swapping.
Terry and our singers have now prepared the anthem, A Song for the Earth by Jim Scott.
Who's coming? Wait for a male voice. Wherever you want to stand, you're all right. Okay. As the flame shifts through the trees, befriends nature's ancient harmony, boys and rain from a sailing sky beneath the ground. Roots will die, and that is why I sing this song for the earth. The tainted river struggles to the open sea, while the gain. For what it's worth, I'm often for the sea is where all life begins. The ocean is our origin. She lies, nothing survives. No one will be left behind. And who will look with awe upon the monuments of humankind? But the trees still strive to grow, watching generations come and go, green and tall. The land is theirs, feeding the soul, breathing the air, living their song, a song for the earth. The sea is where all life begins. The ocean is our origin. If she dies, nothing survives. No one will be left behind. And who will do it all upon the monuments of humankind? But the trees still strive to grow, watching generations come and go, green and tall. The land is theirs, feeding the soul, clearing the air, living their song, a song for the earth.
Thank you. We're going to do things out of order than we normally do today. We're going to do our a visualization and then do the joys, concerns, and intentions after that. The visualization, it's called I Am a Tree, and Pete is going to accompany me on the flute as I read this to you. So everybody, if you can find a comfortable seated position with your feet planted firmly on the ground. If you're comfortable doing so, please close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take a deep breath slowly in through your nose and out through your mouth. Repeat that nice, slow, deep breath. Imagine yourself in a beautiful forest or garden or park. Trees are all around you. Look around at the trees. Some are mature, majestic specimens, others are saplings, and still others are seedlings. Find yourself in one of the trees. Are you a seedling, developing your roots, growing a strong, healthy stem, preparing for your first leaves to emerge? Or are you a sapling, spreading your roots within the earth, growing your trunk in height and width, and developing branches? Or are you a mature tree with a large canopy, producing seeds and flowers and fruit, providing homes for birds and bats and squirrels, reptiles and insects? Imagine your tree. What season are you in? Spring is the season of renewal with new buds, flowers and leaves emerging. Summer is the growing season, providing a canopy and focusing on photosynthesis. Autumn, when your leaves are changing to brilliant reds, yellows, and orange, as your chlorophyll breaks down to less daylight, shedding the leaves from branches. Or is it winter, a period of dormancy, to rest and conserve energy? Imagine you are your tree. You have roots. Consider what nourishes your roots. You have a trunk. Is it strong and straight, reaching for the sunlight? Or is it angled and twisted from storms it has weathered? Does it have wounds from difficult times? Are these healed wounds visible, demonstrating resilience after injury? If someone views your tree from a different perspective, are the wounds hidden? You have branches which reach out to the world beyond yourself. You have many, many leaves blowing in the wind and sending out messages to the universe. Know your tree, know yourself. Honor your tree and honor yourself. Take a long, slow, deep breath. Gently wiggle your roots, stretch your branches as you return to this sacred space. So today, for joys, concerns, and intentions, rather than our usual stone ritual, I invite you to write your joy on your green leaf, or your intention that you want to spread to the world, and on your leaf that has a red ribbon with your concern or something that you're ready to release and shed behind you. So the tree in the front represents spring, the budding of new green leaves. So please come and attach your joys and intentions that you want to blossom into the world to that tree in the front. And the branches in the back represent autumn and the shedding of leaves and the releasing of concerns and sorrows. And Pete will play the flute as we go about doing that. So you may begin. Yes? Okay. Red ribbon leaf is a concern or sorrow, and that'll go on the back branches. Green ribbon will be what you would like to blossom in the world, the joy or intention. thank you all for your joys and intentions you're sending into the world, and hope that you can leave any concerns and sorrows behind us. Now we have a couple more sharings. Lori is going to talk with us about Hug Those Trees.
Oh, if you don't know by now, I'm sure everybody does, I am a Druid. I've been a Druid since I was a teenager, and I'm a card-carrying Druid. I belong to many Druid organizations, and I'm pretty well educated about Druidry. So, trees are an integral part of my life. As much as I love nature in every one of its splendid and scary aspects, trees are my focus. Throughout the history of Druids, who have existed since long before the birth of Christ, trees have played an important role in worship. There are 3 sacred facets of every Druid ritual. Every Druid circle must include a fire, a well, and a bela, a sacred tree. Trees are the conduit between the upper world, the realm in which the gods and goddesses dwell, and the underworld, where the ancestors reside. The bela carries messages from its roots, which extend through the dark earth into the dark waters far below. Messages travel up from the underworld through the middle realm, where humans and all aspects of the natural world dwell, into the upper regions, to the sacred ones. If I experience negative or unpleasant thoughts, I can embrace a tree and send them down deep into the earth by way of its roots, there to be dispersed far below. If I wish to share my love and appreciation to my ancestors or the gods, a good tree hug will distribute those thoughts in the most loving and expedient manner. There are many earthbound entities that reside in trees. Dryads are tree spirits who will reveal themselves to you if they're feeling playful or if they think you're worthy. Many of them will convey messages as well. I've seen lots of dryads. Usually when I hug a tree and talk to a tree, I see the dryads, especially if you put your forehead right against the tree. While I'm at it, I always not only hug, but will kiss the tree to convey my love and my thanks. There's a little story I have about these trees. Some of you heard this a couple of weeks ago, so forgive me for repeating it. But I went with the social justice group some time ago to a park, a beautiful place that had a wonderful labyrinth. And I'm not a labyrinth person, but I did want to go. And I wanted to see the whole place. I had never seen it before. So we got there, and they explained to us how you work the labyrinth, and it was fairly large. And so if you come to a point where you have to leave the labyrinth, you have to wait until you're halfway around. And at the other side of the circle, there's a, well, for lack of a better word, an escape hatch. There's a place for you, a path and a walkway for you to get out, to leave without destroying whatever is going on for other people. So I started out, as I said, I'm not a labyrinth person. I'm not a meditator. But I started out, gave it the good college try, and got pretty antsy right away because it's not me to do that. So I walked that half of the labyrinth and kept my eyes trained on the beautiful old oak trees down by the lake on the water. When I finally got to the halfway point where I could legitimately leave, I left, walked down across the field, and got to the trees and started to hug the trees. It was a wonderful experience for me. They were responsive, there were dryads there. It was just awesome. And it probably did as much for me as the labyrinth did for everybody else. But I think I've learned my lesson. I'm just not going to do the labyrinth anymore. There are many earthbound entities. Sorry, told you that. Every morning I talk to and acknowledge the trees in my yard and behind my house and those in my neighborhood. I have certain trees that I talk to every morning, that I acknowledge every morning, and ones that I can see from my front window, certain other of neighbors' trees. Trees are one small microcosm of our incredible earth, one that is very accessible to anyone willing to try. Suspend your disbelief, share your love, hug that tree, the trees will reciprocate.
Rita is going to come up and read the poem Trees by Joyce Kilmer.
I'm sure many of you are familiar with this little poem, Trees by Joyce Kilmer. Joyce Kilmer went to Rutgers University in New Jersey. And in the quad outside his dorm, there was a huge old oak tree. It's no longer there, it got blown down by a storm. But there's a plaque there to his memory, because apparently it was the inspiration for this poem. And he was killed in France during World War I. But he still remembered there's many streets and avenues in New Jersey called Kilmer Plaza, Kilmer Street, and what have you. But anyway, Trees by Joyce Kilmer. I think I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree who may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree.
We're running a little short on time, so the next was going to be a tree meaning activity that I think we're going to have to alter, but I just, that's what your other leaf is for you to write on a tree that resonates with you, a kind of tree, your favorite tree. Each tree has specific meanings and symbolism. There are approximately 73,000 species of trees. I do not have the meanings and symbolism of all of them, but I did look up about 25 of the more common ones. So rather than take time, since, like I said, we're time is short, if anybody would like to write on their leaf and come to me afterwards, I can tell you what the meaning of your tree, if it happens to be one of those 25 that I looked up. Now we'll have our closing hymn. The singers will sing it through for us once, and then we will join in and sing.
finished.
How are we going to do that? If they're joining us,
She
we're
said
going to sing
we're doing it once, first. Singing
one verse.
That's what Terry said.
Okay, all right, yeah, one.
Okay.
One, right? Okay.
Flowers that bloom about our feet, for tender grass so fresh and sweet, for song of bird and hum of bee, for all things where we hear or see. Giver of all we thank thee. For blue of stream and blue of sky, for pleasant shade of branches high, for fragrant air and cooling breeze, for beauty of the blooming trees. Giver of all we thank thee.
Okay, we're going to stop. So we sang 2 verses of it. So now you all can join us, and the words up on the screen there.
Join in.
Okay. It's wait a minute. We've got for this the 4 flowers. We're going to start with the first verse,
And then what?
and we've got 3 verses.
Okay, we're going to do it again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
okay.
3 verses, okay.
Okay.
For flowers that bloom about our feet, for tender grass so fresh and sweet, for song of bird and hum of bee, for all things there we hear or see. Giver of all we thank thee. For blue of stream and blue of sky, for pleasant shade of branches high, for fragrant air and cooling breeze, for beauty of the blooming trees. Giver of all we thank thee. For this new morning with its light, for rest and shelter of the night, for health and food, for love and friends, for everything thy goodness sends. Giver of all we thank thee.
We will now extinguish our candles. Please join me in the words on the screen. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now Karen will house with our closing words. My role is to say thank you on behalf of the Social Justice and Environment Committee for participating in our service today. We so appreciate it when members of our little community come and do readings and sing and so on to support our committee. And a particular thank you to Karen Frank. It was her idea to have this service, and she designed it and put it together. Just to tell you what comes next, we will take the little tree of spring with the hopes, and we'll be planting it here on the property. The dead branches with concerns, we'll dispose of them. And then lastly, we'd like to suggest that since our community has shared ideas about trees today, maybe as we wind down and leave, why not turn to one of your neighbors and ask them a question? What's their favorite kind of tree? If they were a tree, what would they want to be? Do they have a favorite tree somewhere? maybe it's a chance for us to get to know each other a little better here in our community. Again, thank you all very much.
And there's a lunch.
Oh, yes, the Board of Trustees is sponsoring a luncheon afterwards. So, yes, as you walk out talking about trees, turn right at the social hall.
Thank you, everyone.
Avocado.